Alright, so what's up, my fellow version enthusiasts, whether it be Tundra, Sequoia, 2UZ platform lovers. Marco's here on that Limited Tundra's YouTube channel. You kind of will notice that my background is a little bit different than my usual background, and that is because I'm currently south of the border in the state of Guanajuato in Mexico with my family. By my family, I mean my household, like my parents that still live at home. So it's me, my mom, my dad, my brother, my little brother, and I brought my dog Levi. For those that the view that probably saw him from my car seat covers, I brought him down here too. This is roughly a 30-hour drive from my hometown to here. And basically, I'm just gonna kind of give you guys an overview of what my experience has been like making this road trip multiple times with a high mileage Toyota. So this is actually the fourth trip that my truck has made down here. First time that I brought it down here, for those of you that don't know this, my truck's actually a really high mileage rig. First time that I brought it down here, I just broke 300,000 miles and I had owned the truck for like 4 months. Second time I brought it down here, it had 355,000 miles. Third time had 375,000 miles. And then this time that I brought it down here, it had like 416,000 miles on it. So basically, I'm going to show you guys the issues that I've had. I'm going to talk to you guys about the issues that I've had in my other trips, and then the issues that I've had on this trip. The very first time, I tried to bring my truck with my toolbox on, and so I had all of my weight stacked up behind the axle, and when I bought the truck, one of the rear shocks was actually leaking. And that time we left my house, made it to like Lake Charles, Louisiana. For those of you that don't know, I'm located a little bit north of Atlanta. I made it to Lake Charles, which is about a 10-hour drive, had a family emergency, had to stop there, turn back around, come back to Atlanta, Georgia, and then like 2 days later we turned around and went back to Mexico. Well, on the very first time down, I actually blew that rear shock that was leaking. Like it was done. I removed the toolbox, stacked the weight up on the second try, stacked the weight up to the up behind the cab, the heavier stuff, and basically made it down here, made it back, zero issues after that. But the other rear shock was doing all the work, and it was the one that was on the side with the fuel tank. And I know for a fact that at the border on that visit, I hit bump stops at least like twice. Got back home, swapped out the like OEM style shocks that were on it for some Bilstein 4600s, which was what I used to run in the rear. Didn't have any issues after that. However, shortly after that was when I started to have a PO320 code for a cat, and it would like come and go. Second trip, I actually came down here with my check engine light on for that, and went all the way back with it on. But the truck ran perfectly fine. The cat wasn't clogged or anything like that. It just wasn't doing its job. Shortly after that was when I did long tubes, full exhaust, and newer cats, all that stuff. Newer, like brand new O2 sensors, all that good stuff, new injectors. Third trip was hands down the best trip that this truck had. At 375,000 miles, I had zero issues. Absolutely none. My only regret was that the second and third time I brought it down here with my leveling kit, and yeah, the roads down here suck, like big time. And ride was really, really rough. So this time I brought it with fully rebuilt front suspension, and that has bitten me in the ass 2 times. One time, I'm getting like some really loud squawk from my lower control arm bushings. They're moved lower control arms. I'm just not really happy with them. I don't know if it's that the alignment cams are moving or what, but they make a lot of noise going over speed bumps and stuff, and it's actually really, really embarrassing. So I'm going to look into that as soon as I get back. Second thing that I had this trip was, let me go around up to the front and show you. So for those of you that have watched my other videos, you'll know that I have SPC upper control arms on here. The second and third time they came with the ball joint that I installed, but I had the old style kit that has a slug that presses into the spindle from just the top. Well, I didn't know this. I had seen multiple people post videos about it, but basically SPC redesigned it because they were having issues with that slug popping out of the spindle. I never had an issue up until 2 days before this road trip. I took the truck in to get brand new SPC ball joints because I had blown the boots on them and I couldn't keep greasing them. And the day before I was supposed to come out here, on my driver's side, on my passenger side, the slug actually popped out of the spindle. And my whole wheel popped in, damaged my ABS wire. So I currently have an ABS light on the truck, and had that issue. Took it into the shop because I thought that they had committed a error installing the upper ball joint, but it ended up being that slug. They actually covered it for me because I've taken the truck into them so many times to get a lot of work done on my front suspension. And what they did is they pressed it back in, cleaned it all up. They actually tack welded it to the spindle to get me going. They're supposed to have an ABS wire waiting for me as soon as I get back in a couple of days from when I made this video. And as you'll see, I actually have the truck on stocks, and I actually think that that's what saved my truck, was the fact that I had put these stocks on when I got that work done, because I did a 1 hour drive after that on that day, did a U-turn, and that was when I heard the first initial pop. Second day, did like 2 other U-turns, and on the third one, that was when the slug popped out of the spindle. So I've had that issue, and that's not a Toyota issue, because that's an aftermarket part, in my opinion. That's an SPC issue, but that is an issue that I've had with this truck, it being modified. And like I said, I don't think it has an issue with miles, but that's part of having a modified vehicle. That's not something that's stock. The only issue that I've had Toyota wise, I was getting really, really bad fuel economy. Threw a brand new set of coil packs on the truck and started running some seafoam through several tanks, and my fuel economy went back up. However, on the way down here, I got a PO136 and a PO156 for both rear O2 sensors, which are only 2-year-old Denso sensors. I don't know if it's just that all the carbon buildup got knocked into the sensors while running at such a high RPM for several hours, or if it was from some fuel that I had got, because that check engine light came on like 5 minutes after filling up in Texas, a little bit before San Antonio. So that's the only issue that I've had out of this truck, this road trip, that is based off of like an issue with Toyota. However, the carnage that this truck has had on this road trip has not been good. I've owned this truck for 6 years, and I finally did some body damage to it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not proud of myself. I was actually really pissed at myself that day, but before that, on the way down here in Texas, I got a rock chip, and the heat just made that crack move a lot. People down here, they like to write on dirty cars. I always keep my truck dirty down here just so it doesn't catch attention. On the way back up at the border, like, it's covered in bugs, just hideous. Windy day, grandma's gate flew into my bumper. That sucked. Another day, a gate hit the side of my truck, but I think I got lucky because it hit the running board. But this wasn't my bad. I took too tight of a turn in town, and I rubbed up on a concrete post. Luckily, it was just a fender flare, but you can kind of see, like, right there, it's a little bit dented in. I don't know that the camera will catch it, but I'm going to try to find a parts truck with a black fender. That way the paint is kind of blended in, but if not, I mean, I'll see if I can get this fender flare fixed or order a brand new one. Had that happen. This, again, isn't a Toyota thing because it's a centric cap, but the rivets that held the little strut on this side broke. And so I don't have a shock on this side. I still have it, but it's obviously not installed. And what ends up happening is that this doesn't stay up anymore. Also, one of the screws that goes into the aluminum frame right there for the little latch thing, stripped. So I ended up having to find a thicker screw down here just to hold it down. Again, that's not anything Toyota based, but this has just been my experience road tripping with the high mileage older model Toyota. My worry was in Texas when the 2 check engine lights came on, the 2 codes came on for my rear O2 sensors, because in all honesty, some of the mountains that you traverse over here, they're pretty steep, and you kind of need all the power you can get, and obviously with those kind of codes you do get reduced power. So that was my only worry. But they ended up going away. That checking light ended up clearing itself a couple hours later. I think it was like after half of another new tank. So that's kind of why I kind of believe that it was a fuel issue, but I'm not 100% sure. Other than that, though, truck's been great. You know, once I get back, like I said, ABS wire getting fixed. We will be throwing the Toyos back on. Another fresh alignment for the Toyo MTs. And I've got a rivet gun to fix that. Just got to go to Ace Hardware store for a self-tapping screw, fix that, and then get windshields fixed. And front bumper, I think I can buff that out, those scratches, because I've tried catching them with my fingernail and I don't feel anything. Majority of the paint rubbed off from what was left on there from the gate, so I think I can buff that out. But regardless, that whole bumper needed to get resprayed anyways because of another road trip that I had on here. A dump truck dropped a bunch of gravel on the road and ended up flaking the paint on the bumper, and so now every time that I pressure wash it, some flakes off. And I think the hardest thing is just going to be getting the fender flare sorted out on that side, but even that isn't that big of a deal. I'm definitely not going to leave it as is. This truck is my pride and joy, my baby. It's been really good to me. I think the least that I can do for it is get that fixed. But do I see myself bringing this truck down here again? I think I will. I do see myself trying to get another 2U ZFE platform this year. I'm really kind of leaning towards a 4Runner or a Sequoia, and I'll probably bring that down one time. But in all honesty, I do see myself bringing this truck down here at least one other time. That actually is why I bought the cap, because of this road trip. Makes it really convenient to just throw all our luggage in there. I don't have to worry about like tarping, none of that crap. I did that once and I didn't like it. But other than that, truck has been great. The squawking from the front suspension has gotten less, but it's still really annoying and embarrassing. But other than that, truck has been great, getting the job done, and hopefully we'll be back in Georgia in one piece. My other complaint, though, brakes. They've gotten really squishy, and just with the power stop, I got brand new rear brakes installed that same day when I had the ball joint press. I had new OEM shoes, new drums, got all that stuff adjusted, but my brake pedal still felt more squishy than I feel like it should be. So maybe they just didn't adjust the rear shoes properly. But even then, I think it is time to do a GX 470 / 5th gen 4Runner front brake upgrade and get this thing going a little bit better. I don't ever run anything smaller than a 17, so I should be good there. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted as we go about getting windshield replaced and retinted, getting that done, and whatever route we decide to go with the front bumper. I'm really wanting a full brush guard brute force fab bumper, and then if we do the brakes, I'll keep you guys in touch with that, with parts and how install goes on that. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys have had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year with your family, and I hope that 2022 is a year full of blessings for everybody. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and be ready to check out all those videos as we get the truck cleaned up, get all that stuff redialed in, get ABS wire fixed, and all the other little stuff on the cap too. So with that said, I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.